All right, folks, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another video. All right, y'all. So I had some folks ask me some questions about this fight that's going down April 8th, UFC 287. As y'all know, Cynthia Calvillo, she's making a move down to 115, making that move back down to strawweight against the unranked Lupi Godinez. And some people ask me about this fight. What does it mean for both of these fighters? Well, for one, for Lupi, it means another test for her. It's another veteran that, she needs to go in there and show up and make a statement, because as we know, Lupi, it didn't look her best against Angela Hill. She didn't look her best in that fight, but, she does have a lot of good strengths about her, but she still needs to work on her IQ and, just executing a good game plan against a veteran like that, knowing how to adjust on the fly. Right. But for Cynthia Calvillo, to me, this fight means a lot for her right now. It means a lot because, not only is she on a 4-fight losing streak, but, this is a hard 4-fight losing streak. This is a hard 4-fight losing streak for her. You can't even really compare it to like the Tisha Torres losing streak, or even the Andrea Lee losing streak that she was on. That was like 3 fights in a row, because they were still close fights. But when you look back at Cynthia Calvillo, she was just really dominated in some of these fights, and she was in a weight class that, didn't suit her. It didn't really suit her. I think she was just missing weight because of discipline, So, one of the questions that was asked to me was, is this Cynthia Calvillo's last chance at, at making a statement in the UFC? And I believe it is. I believe it is, just being real and being a Cynthia Calvillo fan and, following her pre-UFC, I just seen so many changes and, it's just so many changes and so many bumps in the road for her that, this is something she's going to have to really take a grip on and take it seriously and go in there and make a big statement against, because Lupi, though she's unranked, she's still a dangerous fighter for somebody even like Calvillo. Calvillo, again, we don't know where she's at mentally and even physically right now, the wear and tear after those last few fights. So is this her last chance? Yeah, I think it is. So she's going to have to, really take this one by the reins and make sure she's prepared. Number one, is the discipline. Number one, that's the number one thing she's going to have to make sure that she can go in here and really, really turn things around is discipline. And by discipline, I mean making weight. She's going to have to make sure that she can really do this time, because she's thinking about making straw weight a little while back before the Nina Ansaroff fight, but things didn't work out again, and she winds up going back to 125. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, she's probably not going to look her best again, right? Because I think it's a discipline thing. So she's really going to have to start living that lifestyle, not just making weight for a strawweight fight, but living the lifestyle. And look, people are going to say, oh, you're not a fighter now. Well, I know how to live the lifestyle when it comes down to losing weight and even training for certain things. I know about that. So there's just certain things you have to change if you want to stay in the range of a strawweight, flyweight, or whatever the weight is, or just stay disciplined on whatever it is that you're focused on, right? It's like when you're in college, you have to stay on a certain schedule, a tight schedule, sleep schedule. Certain things you do on the weekend, you might have to start putting off because you have to start studying at, you have to start making certain study periods on the weekend for, certain tests you have, or just certain classes that are harder than, usual. You have to start making those changes in your life. So I think for Cynthia Calvillo to be a strawweight, it is 100% possible for her, even though she is in her 30s. I believe it just comes down to living that lifestyle, cutting certain things out, certain types of foods, and, getting the right nutritionist to get you back down there. Now, granted, Macy Barber is younger than her, but Macy Barber can make that weight. And Macy Barber looks a little bit thicker, and she's a little bit bigger than Cynthia Calvillo, right? But she's been feeling the need to move down, and she's going to do that after this Andrea Lee fight, right? And we've been looking at her, and we said, okay, she looks like she could be a natural flyweight now. Like, she could hold her own, but she's actually taking her chance. And it all came down to the lifestyle, right? So same thing with Cynthia Calvillo. I think it just comes down to her, if she wants to finish out her career in a weight that suits her, she's going to have to be living that lifestyle. She's going to have to be living that lifestyle of a strawweight, living that lifestyle that's close to that weight, walking around at about 130, 133, so the weight cut is not too hard for her. Then when a fight comes up, that 15 pounds or so, or 15, 14 pounds or so is not too hard to shed off, maybe even lower than that. So it all comes down to, just having the right nutritionist, eating the right amount of carbs and everything to really just keep her around that comfortable weight. So when it comes down to fight, whenever a fight is signed or, that weight cut, it's not as rough, right? So yeah, I think that's going to be a big part of it, the discipline, to take advantage of this last chance. But the second thing really is probably going to be neck and neck is the style, of fight that Cynthia Calvillo needs to choose again. She needs to go back to her roots. She really needs to go back to her roots of being that wrestler / grappler. I really thought that when she was at strawweight, when she first came in, she was going to be using that style. I always thought she was a pretty good wrestler. And, she really knows how to shoot in and get takedowns. She's a solid clinch fighter as well. She's very scrappy when she gets to the ground. Her ground and pound is good. If she gets you down, she's either trying to submit you or, she's active. She's working off the top position. That was always her thing. But somewhere along the line, she just started becoming this striker that liked to strike from the outside. And that just does not benefit her with somebody that doesn't have a lot of pop, doesn't really have a long range, and it's not that fast. She does have decent hand speed, but, it's not really like this blinding speed that she can depend on in fights. It just doesn't work like that for her. So her striking is good, but I think it should be used as her secondary weapon. It should be used to get takedowns. It should be used more for dirty boxing, on the inside in the pocket, not really just like trying to control rounds, because that's where she started to let up in even some of her strawweight fights. She started to trade a lot early on with JoJo, got hit a lot in that fight. It was a tight fight. For the Marine Rodriguez fight, she was on the outside a lot, so that fight turned out to be a draw. She had more success when she was taking her down to the ground. And then let's not even talk about the flyweight fights. I mean, that's how she really started showing that regression, man. Trying to box against a tall, long fighter like Caitlin Kagan just wasn't going to work. Caitlin's a much better boxer. She's made for this division, and she's, much more slicker with it, so she had her moments in that fight too, but that just wasn't going to work out for her, right? And then trying to, fight on the feet with Jessica Andrade, you don't want to stand on the outside with her. Then another longer striker, and Andrea Lee, she got stopped in that fight as well, so I think it really just comes down to her going back to her roots and really going back to being that type of grappler. And I think, moving down to strawweight, she'll be able to do that. She just really has to work on her strength and conditioning and build up that physical strength. And, it'll go hand in hand. Once she builds a frame, once she builds a certain particular size for her frame, which will also go hand in hand with how she diets, to make 115, I think she could be a much better fighter. I think that would go hand in hand, and it could put her back potentially into the top 10 at 115. I know that's asking a lot, but like I said, if you want to know if she has a last chance, it's going to come down to all these things. Yes, she has a last chance. This is her last chance, and I think she could do it, but it's going to take a lot of hard work for her at this point. It's going to take those two things, I think. The discipline of making weight, and then going back to her roots, changing her style up. And like I said, changing your style up, it all depends on what type of muscle you put on, what type of strength you put on, and how it incorporates with your with your dieting from here. So yeah, guys, I would like to see Calvillo, get back into the mix at 115, but just once you've seen those last few losses, you think, you've seen this in the past before. It's kind of hard for, fighters to bounce back. I've seen it in boxing where guys, they were on the high road, and it's somewhere they just got beat, and then they got beat again, and you always have that hope for them, and there's no coming back from it. There really is no coming back from it sometimes, because sometimes they're just mentally defeated, but hopefully Calvillo, she can get with the right team. Hopefully she is with the right team that can put her back into the mix and, help her take advantage of this last opportunity. Right, guys? So let me know in the comment section what y'all think. We'll talk more about the fight later because I, want to talk about Loopy as well at some point. But let me know what y'all think. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.